Hi, my name is Rahjanni and I am a Per Diem Therapist. I work at our PHP in Pompano and also at our residential treatment center in Boca. I served in the Army for almost 9 years. I had a really great time doing that. I was in military intelligence, so I was attached to some tactical teams to help identify targets. Why did I join the military? That's actually really interesting because I woke up one day and I just had I had a dream that I was supposed to join the military, and I know it sounds super bizarre, but after that I was just compelled, and within that week I enlisted. I went to go see a friend in Fort Bragg, and I saw the kids playing on the playground, but the music started playing and all of the kids and all the parents stood at attention and saluted the flag, and to me I thought, I want to do something that's that honorable. I think the Army impacted my mental health in good and bad ways. The things that we learn, suck it up, adjust fire, get it together, all of these kind of sayings that we have that we internalize in order to make it through training or make it through a deployment, they served us well. They were our survival mechanisms. I think with that, I didn't have the skills to process tragedy. When my husband died, 29 days later, I was back in country. I was back in Afghanistan. And that wasn't because the military said you have to go. That was me trying to move past my grief. It's actually a really sad experience that I had in the military that was the most powerful. My first husband committed suicide. And then, and that came after the death of his best friend a year prior. And then a year after that, we lost another friend to suicide. But our unit was really struggling. We had roughly 9 suicides in 3 months. And so I couldn't figure out what was going on. I couldn't understand why this was happening over and over and over again. And while I got the briefings about mental health and don't commit suicide, I didn't really have a foundation for what it meant to be suffering or struggling with a mental illness. He had PTSD. I was already showing signs of PTSD, and I don't know, I think for the first time I saw that the Army was fragile. I'd never seen it like that before, and it was kind of terrifying to me. So when I get to work with these veterans and see them from the beginning of their journey, and they usually come in with some level of fear, maybe not expressing that, but it's hard to adjust, right? No matter what phase of life you're in, it's hard to adjust to the treatment environment. And to be able to see a veteran and partner with them and walk them through this treatment, knowing that you're gonna have good days and I'm not gonna judge you, and you're gonna have bad days and I'm not gonna judge you, and you're gonna wanna leave and I'm not gonna judge you, and you're gonna wanna use and I'm not gonna judge you, but all the while we're not gonna let you quit. I think that's been the most rewarding part of me, and this process of working with veterans in the mental health field has given me purpose that I never thought that I'd be able to achieve outside of the military. On a personal level, this work changes my life, right? Because I've seen the worst of the worst. I've experienced the worst of the worst in my personal life, with my first husband, and that battle that he was having with PTSD and mental illness and feeling unseen and unheard, and then me really just not knowing. I just didn't know what I didn't know. And I said, I made a commitment to myself that I would never be embarrassed, or I would never be ashamed of his experience. I would never lie and say, he died this way or he died that way. I'd always address it for what it was. My husband struggled with severe depression and severe PTSD, and it took his life, right? And if I can continue to tell that story, then maybe another veteran, when they hear that story, they'll say, I can relate. I can relate. And maybe they'll see some of the aftermath that they can't really see, because when you're in the depths of despair, you don't see the second and third order effects of your choices, especially if you're feeling like a burden. You don't see that the very people that you feel like are being burdened by your presence are going to be devastated by your absence, right? And so working with the veteran and getting them from that place of despair where this isn't going to work, I'm helpless, I'm hopeless, no one's going to get me, to the place where they're like, man, I can do this. You know, I can do this. Not that it's going to be easy, but I'm capable, right? There's self-efficacy that is established within them to where they are no longer just hanging on to my words or the encouragement of their clinicians, but they believe it for themselves. You know, that's something Chris didn't have, right? And so being able to give that to somebody else or lay it on the table and say, hey, do you want to pick this up? It's amazing. It's amazing. If you are a loved one or struggling, please call us today.